violence and other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. But I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, cyberspace? It's the Black Gen Z Mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe, and let's get into the video.
Between a student and teacher at LB Landry in Algiers is raising concerns.
Okay, Travers, it's the latest of several fights at the school caught on video. The substitute teacher who captured this incident tells WDSU something more needs to be done to protect teachers and staff members. WDSU.
You have the super teen gremlins on demon time fighting teachers. And I've told you all about this type of stuff before. I've told you guys about the disrespect that these young super gremlins have for authority, for their elders, for black men in general, other black men. And it's absolutely ridiculous, okay? You have these dudes trying to fight teachers because they got their feelings hurt, or they were doing wrong in class and the teacher enacted discipline upon them. This goes back to it. Sisters, come get your kids.
Reporter Shay O'Connor live with the story only on 6. Shay.
That is right, Gina and Travers. Now, NOPD tells me no charges were filed, and also that student was not arrested. It's also hard to know at this time exactly what led to the altercation, but I do want to warn you that parts of this video may be disturbing to watch.
You just assaulted me, bro. Just let him up. You just assaulted me, bro.
He was an older teacher, and I was scared because I wasn't sure how far the student was going to take it.
Courtney, who
And she was scared because the student was going to take it there. She believed the student might have came back and spun the block.
didn't want to use her last name, says she was subbing at LB Landry High School on Friday when she witnessed the most disturbing encounter of all of her years as an educator.
He never hit the student. He just kept trying to restrain him because he kept hitting him. And there was nobody really to help.
This video shows.
Yeah, and you see this woman didn't jump in. She knew better. This just goes to show a teenage boy will give a grown woman the work. And that's why they never step in to break these fights up.
The teacher trying to restrain a student on the floor. At one point, the two get up. The student begins punching him again and again.
They tussled for at least 5 minutes. And I just sat there and captured as much as I could. And then the next thing I know, the teacher seemed like he was kind of disoriented. He fell to the.
Yeah, he got hit with some KOs. Okay, he got hit with some KO punches. That's that delirious stand up right there. He looked like the drunken master.
Floor, and he was bleeding out of his head.
Courtney says she started recording because it was taking too long for someone to intervene.
I said, okay, this is not stopping. Nobody's coming.
That ain't it, teacher. These teachers need some type of mixed martial arts training because they cannot contend with these super teen gremlins on demon time.
Prior to all of that happening, the teacher did ask for the police, somebody to come.
Eventually, someone took the student away and NOPD was called. Courtney says she's still in shock that something more wasn't done to protect the teacher.
He told another teacher who walked up with him to go get, I believe it was a resource officer, maybe another dean. Neither one of those people showed up. In fact, the police officer never came up. When I went down.
Well, didn't y'all say y'all wanted to defund the police? Y'all didn't want the police in the school because y'all ain't want it to feel like a jail. Now you want police when these super gremlins are out of control.
Downstairs, she was on her phone, and I asked her, I said, you know, you are a police officer? She said, correct. I said, why didn't you come up? She said she sent somebody else up there. I said, well, they're not.
And then who do they have in the school? A female police officer. She would have got that work too.
Not a police officer. You are.
Now, I have not heard back on the condition of the teacher at this time. However, Algiers charter schools, they did release this statement here on your screen saying in part last week was an isolated incident that took place. They say personnel was contacted and the matter was quickly de-escalated. They also say that NOPD will be investigating.
Oh, that was an isolated incident? They trying to act like this don't happen every other week.
Investigating the matter. Reporting live from Algiers, Shay O'Connor, WDSU News.
All right, Chase, so before we let you go, was there a school resource officer on campus at the time?
Gina, very good question. I mean, when it comes to school security guards, I'm told that 2 charter school officers were on campus. But when it comes to the resource officer provided by NOPD, there's currently one of those that's policing the entire 4th district. And I'm told that that one officer was not on campus when the incident occurred. Gina?
All right, Shay, thank you.
Shows strong support for recalling Mayor Cantrell.
As Sabrina Wilson reports, some say the crime problem is a big part of what's shaping public perceptions about the mayor.
New Orleanians line up to sign a recall petition against New Orleans Mayor Cantrell, and now results are in from a robocall poll conducted by political scientist and pollster Dr. Ed Chervenak of Edgewater Research and Dr. Tony Licciardi, developer of the My People Vote campaign canvassing app. 402 registered voters took part and were asked if they thought Cantrell should be recalled. Over 50% said yes, compared to 36.9% who said don't recall her.
And who do y'all think that 36% was that said don't recall? You have a majority saying to recall her and 36% saying no. You got 7% that say they don't know. And then we're going to go off of this 36% because if we go off of the majority, it's racism.
Almost 8% said they didn't know.
55% say that they support the recall. And we are finding some differences. There seems to be a gender gap. Women seem to be more supportive of the recall than are men.
And among the races, 63% of whites favor a recall compared to 53% of blacks.
Whites are more supportive than African Americans are of the recall as well.
The survey also asked voters if they thought the city was headed in the right or wrong direction. 30% answered right direction.
How could you really say that the city is headed in the right direction? This has to just be low IQ people that and these are registered voters. And 30% of them said the city is headed in the right direction when New Orleans has the highest murder rate per capita out of any city in the United States.
But 64.5% said wrong direction.
Direction of the city is directly related to the support for the recall.
And of course, the poll was taken as people are concerned about the city's violent crime problem.
Many of us are, and I hate to use the word fear, but we're very conscious of when we're going out and when we're doing things. I know I certainly am. And, I guess the confidence level is certainly, we like, at a low level right now. And, and perception sometimes isn't reality.
Dr. Ashraf Ismail is a Dillard University criminologist.
Crime has been in abundance, especially violent crime the last couple of years since the pandemic, and it hasn't reduced. And so people are lacking confidence in what is going on and want to see some type of change, whether it's right or not.
So, yes, that is driving a lot of attitudes about the direction of the city. So the mayor has to get a handle on crime.
Police manpower remains a problem.
I know I'm getting emails every day from agencies across the country, every day, literally, asking them to talk to my students at Dillard University. We're trying to recruit more officers.
And as for the poll, Chervenak says it's a snapshot in time.
But the substance of the poll shows that the sentiment, public sentiment, is not moving in the mayor's direction. That perceptions of her,
and I say get her behind up out of here pronto,
are more negative than positive.
More than 50,000 signatures are needed to force a recall election.
And we're told the challenge for organizers is efforts like this typically run out of steam over a 180-day period.
Miss it if you're driving on St. Charles Avenue, a giant sign promoting the recall of Mayor Cantrell.
And it may be a sign that members of one of New Orleans' signature industries could be joining the effort against her. WGNO's Kenny Lopez is along the avenue for us tonight. Kenny.
That's right, Kurt and Susie. Signs of the Mayor LaToya Cantrell recall are popping up. Proof of that is here at this mansion on St. Charles Avenue behind me. Now, this mansion is known every Christmas for its twinkly Christmas lights. Well, now it's becoming known for a message: Save New Orleans, sign Mayor recall. Organizers say that the owner of this mansion is a restaurant owner in New Orleans, and many restaurant owners in town have now come on board with the recall efforts, including the president of the Restaurant Association, Stan Harris. NoLatoya.org is the only official website that is affiliated with the recall petition, and all signatures must be handwritten. Recall organizer Eileen Carter says they need about 53,000 signatures, and she says they aren't giving the exact number that they have yet, but efforts are looking strong.
Let's work. This is amazing. The people are coming together and getting her the F on out of there. This just shows the power of the people. If we come together on a united front against super gremlins on demon time, look at the change that can be enacted.
But I will tell you this, we have outpaced ourselves, and if we continue at this pace, we will be hitting our target in 5 months rather than the 6 months that are given.
Let's go.
Now, that 6 months is Ash Wednesday that they need the signatures by, and so far Mayor Cantrell's campaign team has issued a statement regarding the recall, saying this petition is a Republican-backed maneuver by people with an agenda.
A Republican-backed maneuver. So everybody in there is a Republican. Bruh, get the... That's all they have. That's all they have.
And fits into a long history of taking away our vote and voice. Recall organizers deny that. Now, the next recall event is set for tomorrow morning from 7 to 11 at the corner of Barone Street and Washington Avenue. Kurt, Susie.
All right, thanks for the update, Kenny.
One New Orleans City Council.
I'm here on the corner of MLK and Frederick Douglass, where a shooting just took place. And as you can see, it's a pretty rough area. So I'm basically risking my life reporting on this madness. So make sure you do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. Like the video, hell, share the video. And make sure you go ahead and leave a comment down in the comments section to continue the discussion on how we can find solutions to all this son violence in the streets. I'm Jenquavius Jackson, here live, reporting from Atlanta, Georgia, BGZM News 17.
Administrative officer says the law department is now working to figure out if New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell is required to pay back nearly $30,000 for first-class flights overseas.
Wow. So remember that trip she took to France? Remember she went to the Eiffel Tower, seeing all the sights that she wanted to see since she was a little girl? Well, she is using money from taxpayers to book her flights, and she's flying first class. Okay? Private jets, all that.
Andres Fuentes reports the mayor says she will not reimburse the city.
At the mayor's press conference outside of the Knicks library, Fox 8 was the only news station to ask questions regarding her travel.
And then any updates as far as whether or not you'll be reimbursing for travel expenses?
So in regards to my travel, all expenses incurred doing business on behalf of the city of New Orleans will not be reimbursed to the city of New Orleans. One thing is clear, I do my job.
We played that clip for Dillard University public policy professor Robert Collins.
And there was another thing that she said during that press conference is that she flies first class because it's dangerous for black women to fly coach.
I guess your initial reactions.
Well, it appears that the mayor is continuing to be defiant on the whole situation of her travel.
Collins is talking about the policy that requires city employees to seek the lowest fares available and to pay the difference if they choose to upgrade from coach to first class. The mayor's staff says it's trying to figure out if that policy applies to her, saying that the mayor is an elected official, not a city employee.
I think that's still under review with law, kind of determining the variations between the CAO policy, the elected official policy, and different variations.
The mayor's first-class tickets to France and Switzerland cost the city nearly $30,000.
Damn.
And Collins says that since Cantrell gets a salary and benefits from New Orleans, she should qualify as an employee.
It's sort of like saying, you know, the president of the United States is not an employee of the federal government. He draws a salary, of course he is. It's like saying the governor of Louisiana is not an employee of state government. Of course he is. He's the CEO of state government. He's the chief executive officer of state government. So,
and toward her comment that she said about New Orleans or flying coach is not safe for black women, I see plenty of black women flying Spirit. Now they do be getting the hooking on and off the plane. So maybe that's what she's talking about. Maybe that's what she's been trying to avoid while paying for first class tickets.
To pretend that there's some sort of legal difference between an elected official who draws a salary from a government agency and an employee of that government agency, I think is problematic.
And Chief Administrative Officer Gilbert Montagne says that we can expect a decision from the city attorney, quote, sooner rather than later.
Whether or not New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell needs to reimburse the city for her first-class travel upgrades may come down to who she works for. Good evening, everyone, and thanks for watching. I'm Katie Moore.
And I'm Cherise Gibson. The city travel policy is that city employees must buy the lowest airfare available or pay the difference if they elect to travel in other sections.
And Paul Murphy reports the legal question now is, does the policy apply to elected officials, such as the mayor?
A defiant New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell is refusing to pay the city roughly $29,000 she charged this year to upgrade her city air travel to business and first class.
All expenses incurred doing business on behalf of the city of New Orleans will not be reimbursed to the city of New Orleans. One thing is clear, I do my job, and I will continue to do it with distinction, with dignity and integrity every step of the way. And so that's what I'll have to say on that.
The city's travel policy states employees are required to purchase the lowest airfare available, and that employees who choose to upgrade from coach, economy, or business class flights are solely responsible for the difference in cost. The policy also states any reconciliation of travel expenses that results in overpayment by the city requires that the employee reimburse the city within 20 business days.
Well, the policy of the city of New Orleans says that employees, if they decide to fly first class as opposed to the lower fare, they have to reimburse the city.
The mayor listed the city of New Orleans as her employer on her financial disclosure form. But New Orleans attorney and legal analyst Tim Mesh says that doesn't necessarily make her a city employee subject to the travel policy.
But the issue is traditionally, what have mayors of municipalities been considered? And in just about all the circumstances, they're not considered to be employees.
City Council President Helena Moreno says she is now seeking legal opinions from both the city attorney and the council's attorney as to whether the travel policy applies to the mayor and if she has to reimburse the city for her travel upgrades. Paul Murphy, Eyewitness News.
So we asked the city administration to clarify the travel policy and whether it applies to the mayor. We did not get a response to that question in time for this newscast.
Gang violence